Welcome to the Your Peak Life podcast. Let's conquer the summit of life and reach the apex of our potential.
All right, what's going on? And welcome to another episode here of Your Peak Life. DJ Julian Rivera, Edgar the Sphere Munoz. We got Mr. Kyle the Man Myers, and the one and only, not with an S, Terrance Boyle. What's going on, bro?
Not a whole lot, man.
Cool.
Just,
Episode's over. Not a whole lot. All right, we're out of here.
Doing good. We're doing good.
So let me talk about him because he doesn't like to talk about himself a lot. First off, you go to his Instagram, you see a six-pack. All right, he's working on himself. I want to be very clear on that. But on top of that, he works very, very hard for his clients, his community, and really everything that he's been about in his life. His 28 years in this world has just got him to this point. So we want to learn a lot about you today, Terrance. More so, tell us about you. I know a little bit. Kyle knows a little bit.
Yeah.
Sphere knows a little bit, but you know more.
Yeah. So I was in the military for about 7 years. Was doing air traffic control, went to Japan for a little bit, and then...
You don't have to whisper, by the way.
Okay, sorry. But was stationed at NAS Oceana for a few years, and I bought my first house in 2020, and that's kind of where everything got kicked off.
How old were you when you bought your first house?
23.
Okay.
23 years old. Yep.
And when were you in Japan?
From 2017 to 2020. Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
that was right after I left.
Really?
Oh, really? What part were you in?
I got here in November of 2016.
Oh, no way.
Virginia.
Yeah, I was in Saspo for 3 years.
Yokosuka.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah, I loved it out there.
Yep.
Such a
Super
beautiful
dope.
place. Yeah.
Anyway, sidetrack.
Yeah, I bought my first house in 2020 because when we came back from Japan, me and 3 other guys wanted to rent a townhouse together in Virginia Beach, and I got here just a couple weeks before they did. And so, the rent, the lease was in my name, the utilities were in my name, everything was in my name. Well, I was collecting everybody's money and giving it to the landlord every single month, and I was like, well, part of my portion of this is about $700-800 a month. Like, what if I just own the house? And then it came to me instead of somebody else. And so I remember going to the gym and just thinking about it. And then at casting out of all the, I guess shameless plug for Iron Asylum here, but if you go in the gym, you see a big old mug of this dude on the wall. It says, if you want to buy a house, contact me. And so went on to the Iron Asylum DM and was like, hey, I want to buy a house. Can we talk? And so Alvin had me come and sit down with him in his office, and I just kind of pitched that idea to him. And he's like, hey, man, that sounds a lot like house hacking. If you buy one house with your VA loan with nothing down and then live in it for a year, rent it out, do this time and time again. And
Yep.
I was like, that's awesome. That sounds like so simple. Like, why doesn't everybody do this?
Right.
And so that's what I did. I bought it, decided to go buy a house, and my timing was perfect. It was August of 2020 is when I closed on my house. And
you just
just finally sold that.
Yeah.
That monstrosity.
So wait, how old are you now?
28.
So then you owned your house for 5 years. You
5
were
years.
23, you bought it, right?
Yep.
Okay.
Owned it for 5 years, and actually I put a lot of money and a lot of time and effort into that. So I actually did carpentry growing up.
Okay.
I used to work with my grandfather up in the Twin Cities, and so I bought this house that had a pink bathroom, had a blue bathroom. Cabinets were super
Yep.
old, and I went through and renovated all of it myself. Had to contract a few different things out, but
Yeah.
in that time, I just sunk a lot of money into it. It was a lot of learning lessons that went into that property, which I tend to actually take that information that I learn now and give that, like, that's the value that I bring to some other clients that I got
100%.
now. Because I've got guys that are military that want to buy a house and rent it out in the future, and
Right.
They want to look at these big houses, and it's like, hey, maybe for your first one, don't buy something so complicated. Maybe get a townhouse that's simpler, or get a ranch style house. That's something that's not gonna it's gonna still rent just as easy, but
Yeah.
you're not gonna want to ruin your life about all the stress and everything that could come with something that's too big too fast.
Dude, I'm so glad you just said that because,
yeah.
3 out of the 4 individuals here have served in our Navy, and we deal with them on a daily basis. A lot of those are our clients, right? And majority of them are the age when you bought your first house, like right around that. So they don't either know or have an idea about how they can utilize the VA loan, right?
Yeah.
That's number one. Number two, a lot of them just watch HGTV or they watch TikToks or whatever the case may be, and they want that dream house day one.
Exactly.
And then now we have to educate them on Why? And first off, you can't afford it at this point based on where you're at in your life. Not saying you won't eventually, but this is the game and how you have to use your eligibility.
100%.
It makes 10 times more sense. And the fact that you guys were in it, all three of you, and you can speak from your first point of view, like you're them. At the end of the day, this is where you'll want to be when you're our age, and this is how you do it, because none of us, except you, had guidance to do that. Am I wrong?
No, 100%. So when I bought my first house, it was like we saw an ad, and it was like this. We lived in Central California at the time, Lemoore.
Oh, nice.
And me and my girlfriend, who's now my wife, we're looking for house hunting. We're house hunting, right?
Right.
Don't do that with a girlfriend. That's not the advice I'm putting out. But we saw an ad, and it was like, damn, 3 bedrooms, 2 bath. I think it was like $150,000.
Right.
Super cheap.
Yeah.
In Cali,
But
yeah.
it was a modular home.
Oh,
We're like,
yeah.
nah, we don't want to do that. We at least knew that. But as we're driving back, we see an open house, and this flipper for sale by owner put his house up for sale. We got a great deal, $220,000, 3-2, 2-car garage, big lot.
Wow.
The issue was that when it came to the lending side,
Sure.
we didn't know. First
Right.
thing we did was we went to our bank, which was Navy Federal at the time.
Makes sense.
Right, that's
Yeah.
what most people do. You go
Yeah.
to your banking institution, and now that I'm on the real estate side, and I know that may not be your best choice.
Yep.
As a matter of fact, most of the time, it's not the best choice.
Yep.
So we went from Navy Federal to Bank of America. We ended up at the time before, this is 2007, 2006, 2007.
Okay.
This is before the crash happened. It was Washington Mutual, I believe it was the company.
Okay.
Or the bank.
I remember that name.
Yeah. So anyways, it was not the best experience either.
Yeah.
So it was like a 1-800 number, trying to walk in, talk to somebody, get this loan done.
Yeah.
They're not explaining the intricacies of why are we turning in, like, because if you don't know, it's like, or you don't have a good agent. Like, I explain to my clients beforehand, look,
Exactly.
it's going to be difficult for you. They're going to get real intrusive. It's going to feel like it because they're going to be asking for your bank statements. You're maybe worried that your account balances and things like that. Don't worry about that. It's just the process.
Yep.
The bank is going to give you hundreds of thousands of dollars.
Yes.
They need to know who the fuck they're dealing with.
Yeah.
Exactly.
I didn't have that guidance. So it was a really hard time, step by step, trying to get pre-qualified. Different rules, different states. Over there in California, they use both incomes, both credit scores.
Oh, okay. That's interesting. Yeah.
Right. So it's like mandatory.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
at the time, my credit score was like, let's just say a 640. And my girlfriend, we're not going to say her name, was like a 580.
Yeah.
Oh, damn. Yeah.
But different time. Pre
Pre-08.
Oh, sure. Yeah.
So they were giving everybody
That's
loans,
true.
right?
That's fair.
I don't care what your credit score was. You're getting it.
Yeah, so we did get a 15-year mortgage, actually. So we ended up going with the 15-year mortgage. The interest rates at the time, which were normal, was 7.25.
Was it an ARM?
No, they made it into, it was a program where they gave us, they split the 220,000.
Gotcha.
So
Okay.
one institution had one, and then the other one
Gotcha.
had the other one.
Okay.
Nice.
Okay.
Something like that.
Yeah.
But the whole point of that is, if I would have known best,
Yo, yeah.
I would have probably got more, talked to an attorney to look over documents, got just more
Yeah.
guidance.
It just goes to.
We just met this flipper, talked to whatever banks.
Yep.
You had no agent?
No, we just did it all on our own.
Yeah, it just proves the value of having a good agent.
Right.
It really does. Because,
Yeah.
I mean, with my first house, I wish I would have done more research. I would have had a little bit more know-how in that world.
Yeah.
Because granted, now I definitely know, but it took 5 years and tens of thousands of dollars of learning lessons to get to that point to learn that. So it's now I can take that information and make sure that this 22-year-old kid that's trying to make a good decision for himself isn't about to have to spend, because if you think about it, these guys are trying to do it and put themselves in a better financial position later down the road. That's the biggest reason for it. And so if I can take what I've learned, granted, I was able to build something off of it, but not everybody's going to be able to do that. Not everybody's going to have the same kind of mindset that I have. Exactly.
Yeah.
And I think people really underestimate the potential of how bad it could get if they don't do it right. And so, a lot of times I'll get military guys that they're just thinking, I just want to buy a rental property. I just want to do this. I'm like, okay, well, what's your exit plan? You know, like this isn't your forever home. So at some point you're going to be leaving here.
Thank you. You said that.
Are you going to rent it? Are you going to sell it?
Well, hold that thought also. Just one more thing. Even in the beginning about not getting representation, I paid my own closing costs.
Yeah.
Had I known or had somebody that, like an
Especially with a
agent.
flipper.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, of course he's not going to tell me you can get your closing costs covered, right? So even to that point, like I ended up literally getting cash, from under my mattress because they're like, you need closing costs. You need 7,000, whatever it was at the time. And I was like, okay.
Yeah.
You went and deposited into my bank, and guess what? That money doesn't count.
Yep.
Where did that money come from?
Yep.
And I've always been that guy that I always withdraw money and put money in my safe, put money somewhere. I've always had cash. Whereas I could have talked to a good lender or an agent, pay down points, did so much more with that cash.
Yes.
And I'm sorry, cut you off.
No,
you
no.
were gonna say something.
That was the forever home. Like that wasn't your forever home.
Hell no.
That wasn't your forever home. Your first joint wasn't your forever. Mine's not my forever home. But what's the strategy, right? So you had a 5-year strategy now. It ended up working out that way. You bought it when you were 23. You're 28. You sold the house, right? You bought it in a very unique time because COVID benefited a lot of people that bought before. Nobody could have predicted that.
Nope.
This is why it's the most appreciating asset, in my personal opinion, in the world. That is a physical asset, not Bitcoin, not anything. Like you just can't predict what's going to happen because it could also go backwards. But it's not forever.
No.
It's usually going to go up in some time. So the main question is, you put a lot of TLC into that house.
Correct.
Even with all the TLC and all the money and stuff that you put into it, did you make money on selling that house?
Very little.
Okay.
Over the time, but I still look at it as a sense of, if you were to buy a washer and dryer brand new for $1,000, and then 2 years later you needed to sell it to pick some cash up, right? Well, yeah, if you only sold that washer and dryer for $400, $500, but that's $400 or $500 in your pocket now,
Right.
versus what you didn't have earlier. So, like, yeah, I think I put close to 70 or 80 grand into that property over that time, and I closed and made 100. So if you do the math on it, that's $20,000 over 5 years of work.
And
that's
if you
your
had the
first house.
experience-
It's my first house.
So no taxes on that money.
No, exactly. Yeah.
If you had that experience that first year or two putting work into it, you also might have done things different.
No, 100%.
You
Yeah.
would have capitalized probably even more.
Yeah. I just know that I was an idiot for walking around that 2,500 square
What was
foot
your
house
interest
and
rate?
thinking, oh, I can do this for 15 grand. You
Right.
know? Like,
What was your rate?
2.25.
So you're also hedging everything at the
Boom.
same
Yeah,
time.
exactly. Yep.
So
Yep.
it's either
Well, and
way,
that,
it's
but
a smarter play.
I was still able to do my game plan of renting the rooms out though. So that was my game plan. It was a 4-bedroom, so I rented each bedroom out for $600 to $800, just kind of depending on where it was in the house.
Yep.
And so my mortgage was $1,600, and I was renting it out, or I was living in there making $2,400.
What city is this house in?
Norfolk.
Okay.
Yep.
Gotcha.
So realistically, you didn't lose. You made 20 bands when you closed on the house, plus the years of you doing that.
Yeah.
So in theory, you made a lot more than that. The difference was
Yeah.
that 20 was tax-free because you owned it 2 out of the last 5 years,
Correct.
where the other actual cash infusion on a monthly basis was taxed. Still a win, doesn't matter, right?
Yeah.
So you really won.
Oh, yeah, 100%.
Regardless of COVID or not, it would have been a W because
Yes.
of your strategy.
Exactly.
But to your point, you had a strategy.
Yes.
So a lot of the time
Yes.
we're talking to our clients, we have to educate them on what, like you're saying, your exit
100%.
strategy. Are you there for 10 years, 5 years? Are you PCSing? Blah, 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 blah.
That's what gets you, not to bring up the rookie of the year so promptly, but that's what gets you those referrals to get something like
Boom.
Yeah.
that. Because now I noticed if you can say no to selling somebody's house, they're like, what in the world? Because like people hit me, Kyle, my interest rate's at 3%. Like I need to sell.
Yeah.
You don't.
Yeah.
No.
How much do you owe in your
Yeah.
entitlement? I bought it for $250 and 3 years ago. You still got about $500,000 left to buy another one zero
Exactly.
down, right?
Yeah.
Wait,
Yeah.
what? Well, I don't want to be a landlord. Okay, at that point, then let's sell. That's cool.
Yeah.
I'll figure out a way to. But it gets you those referrals through those clients because you're saying no to selling
Exactly.
somebody's. Wait, why would a realtor not want to sell my house?
Correct.
Because it's not your best. It's not the best
No.
thing for you.
Right.
Let's get
Right.
another one. Let's rent that out. Make $1,000 a month now, and then let's use that remaining VA eligibility, which is I get that all the time. I'm sure everybody does. Wait, you can buy 2 homes on a VA loan?
Yes.
Yes.
Yep.
I'm on
Exactly.
2. I'm on
And
2
you
now.
could buy foreclosure. Don't let
And you
anybody.
can
Yep.
buy that.
Yep.
So it's
Yep.
like when you say those things, you're educated in that market. At that point, you become the man because it's like, no, look, like let's calm down. Let's see if you want to rent this out first.
Yeah.
Let's see what we can make, and we can
Yep.
still get you in a new home. Let's do it the right way.
Yeah.
100%.
Not just sell. You make this and then cool. Like what you pay off your debt and then now you're in the same exact situation.
See you later.
Yeah,
Yeah.
let's just
Yeah.
let's do it the right way. So I think that's what's blowing you up so far is obviously having those strategies and the decision and actually help a client, not just oh cool, when you want to sell, listing photos are Tuesday, let's go, I can put it on the market, cool, you know, like not even talking to them about like what they're
So what was your plan now after that first home?
I mean, this year was the deciding year because this was 5 years, so it's either I sell it now or I hold on to it for a long time.
24 or 25?
25.
Okay.
25. And given the amount of stress I had with that property, because I was able to rent it out for 3 years, and I only had 1 year tenants every time, and they did not do me any favors when they left.
Right.
And so it was a constant turnaround of having to put more money into it. It was just like, I need to wash my hands clean of this. And also, you know, it's been a big uphill battle since I got out of the military. I had bad habits that I had to get rid of in terms of spending and lifestyle and stuff. But also that house was probably taking a good, 15, 20 grand a year from me, just constantly maintaining it. Cause I mean, it was an older home. And so a big part of it was one, I just, before, cause after the 5 years, the 2 out of the 5 years, capital gains are doing a 1031 exchange afterwards. And so I just wanted to have the cash on hand now. So the next time I get presented opportunities that need cash, I have it. Because before I can think of at least a dozen times so far in my real estate career, I've had opportunities where, if I had 50, 60 grand, I could have done something, but it's like I didn't, And so now the game plan is still the same. I still want to pick up anywhere from 5 to 10 rental properties over the next 5 to 10 years and just let them I think each one of those is just like a little mini piggy bank. And you're making money in more than just 1 or 2 ways from each property. And so, hopefully over the span of 20, 30 years, if something happens and I'm not liquidating everything, I can liquidate one.
Yeah.
And still have everything else going just fine.
And 2 or 3 of them are, again, VA benefit, you earned it. 2 or 3 of those are zero down.
Yes.
People.
Yes.
And, if you don't do it like Edgar did back in the day, you might get your closing costs covered too.
Well, I'll tell you a different way you can pay off your VA loan. Just refinance out of it, and it's paid off. Now you got your full benefit.
That's true.
That's what we did. So, and we did that on accident, by the way. That first house.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So actually, that was a story. We got a traditional 30-year loan, VA loan. Market crashed, 2008, whatever. That happened. And we're like, shit, what are we going to do with this house? It's not worth $220 anymore.
Mm-hmm.
We're upside down on it. We refinanced at the time to an FHA, I believe. Either way, we did that so we could free up our benefits. That's where we got the education. And then we bought our second home out in Temecula because we had got transferred to San Diego.
Oh, there you go.
And we're looking at San Diego and we're like, now we've learned our lesson from the first house.
Yep.
Now we're looking at San Diego. Now we're looking at around the same price range, $300K or below. And it's like, man, we got to live 40 minutes this way in the ghetto just to get a 1,600 square foot home.
Did you keep that San Diego one?
Hold on. So then we're like, let's go look at Temecula. We kept hearing about the city. I know Temecula, but we drive up there. It's gorgeous. Wine country, in the hills, super safe. School districts are great. Everything you want. Again, we spent $220,000 for this house, 3,000 square feet. It was built in 2005, so it's 6 years old when we're buying this thing.
Right.
Yeah.
And we started renting the other house. That's what we did. But that's how we found that out, that once you refinance the VA loan out of it into a FHA loan, we're like, now your VA benefits are back in full.
Zero down again.
Yep.
Zero down all over again, full price.
A lot I'm hearing right here, and we've heard this growing up, is that knowledge is power, but realistically, knowledge is confidence. Because now the more you know, the more you've educated yourself, whether by reading books or failing forward, failing the acronym I love is first attempt in learning, just doing it and figuring it out as you go, you get so much more confident on the delivery to everyone that you're going to work with. And that confidence relayed into your rookie of the year. Like you decided to get your license, right? And then you won rookie of the year. You're talking to another rookie of the year right here as well. So shout out to you, my guy. But we did that in a way that we wanted to provide what's best for the client.
Exactly.
And like you were saying, Kyle, sometimes selling isn't the best for the client, but they don't know unless we educate them, right? Sometimes going to go to an open house by yourself and getting represented dual by the listing agent that represents the flipper or whatever the case may be isn't the best, but we only know what we know at the time. Yeah. So when we get bad raps as realtors or real estate agents or anybody like that, and we're one of the top 5 hated industries in the area because there's one bad apple ruins the bunch. That right there messes the entire process up for the whole crew worldwide because majority of us are really trying to do what's best for our clients. And you decided to do that by jumping into real estate. You bought the crib, you got into it, you figured out what not to do by just doing it. And now that it comes up to the accolades of a rookie of the year, and now you're in what year in real estate? Year three. Full year. This is the third full year?
No, this is like I've already done 2 full years. This is going into year.
Okay, perfect. So then now year 1, boom, you got that. Year 2, did you beat your goals or achieve them?
Oh yeah. My goal for year 2 was 5 million in volume, and I did close to 6.
Boom. Now year 3. What's the goal here? Whether it's finances, whether it's personal, like what's the goal? What's 2025, Terrance?
2025 is 10 million.
Okay.
10 million.
Nice.
And I'm at, with what I've closed plus what I have coming up this month, I should cross 5 by the end of May.
Damn right.
Yep.
See, but you set your goal. Do you have that written down anywhere?
Oh yeah.
Like visibly, not on your phone. Like
no, it's on the mirror.
Damn.
It's on the bathroom mirror.
That's where it's supposed to be.
Yep. Look at it every single morning.
Every day, bro.
Every single morning.
The visible goals is where it comes in.
There was one part that I heard that what you said too with your first property is you learned your lesson with your first property. I learned my lesson with my first property.
Yeah.
And it's like, even, our part as agents is to advise and to give people as much information as we can with our own experiences. But like, let's be honest, we're all stubborn. We're all stubborn as shit.
Oh, yeah.
Right? Like, anybody could tell me whatever I need to hear.
Yeah.
And I'm still going to do it the way that I want to. But I think a lot of us really, once we go through the shit, we're like, oh, that was a lot. But like now that's where our confidence comes from. It's like, okay, I know how that was before. Now I'm going to take this going into the next one.
Well,
yeah.
And on the second house, we met the first agent. We interviewed agents the second time around. The first agent, you could totally tell she was new.
Yeah.
Right.
Now we could identify that because we know the loan, we know the process.
Exactly.
And it was like, we're just going to go get somebody else.
Yeah,
right?
exactly. Yeah.
And we got a different agent. And then after that, we got, coincidentally, one of my childhood friends became an agent.
This is in Cali?
In Cali.
Okay.
So, and very good agent also. And so we used him to purchase our second home. And now the now he had the experience and more knowledge of what kind of loan programs or grants or whatever it may be out there.
Right.
And we took full advantage of that. And even back then, there was another thing that stuck out to this day that still happens today. It's like, you don't want to buy those newer houses, cheap materials, this, that, and the other. My mind shift then, right? My mind shifted then because it was like, well, we're still going to pay full price for a house.
Yeah.
So I might as well get the newer one that's still going to be new because we don't know if we're going to keep this one.
Right.
And that's exactly what happened. Then we got orders to Japan
Yeah.
a few years later. And it's like, do we want to deal with renters? Because we're going through that on the first house.
Yeah.
Let's just sell it all. And we did that. We sold it. And within 3 years, we went from 220 to 400 grand.
Yeah.
And so now we're collecting all this cash, and we didn't even know it was tax free.
Yep.
We're just like, oh man, how much taxes are we going to pay on all of this? And they're like, no, you don't. That's it. That's yours.
Yep.
Fuck yeah.
Yeah.
And then there's the second mistake, right?
Yeah.
Well, what are we going to do with all this money? Yeah.
Smart.
To your point, the opportunities, we didn't have that knowledge of what am I going to do with this cash.
Yeah.
Right. And don't limit yourself where you're going to stay in your little location to invest. There's a world out there where you could spend this money. Luckily, now technology can help you with that. Whereas then it was the internet was growing. Sure, you had Google and all that. But now with social media platforms and everything, you could take that money and really grow. Whereas Edgar and his wife, what we did is we paid off our BMW that we had, which was going to sit in storage for the next 3 years while we were in Japan. Dumbass move. We helped our brother-in-law, which was good. We helped him with a down payment on his house. Tragedy happened. We helped with a funeral, whatever. But at the end of the day, we came back, landed in Virginia with really no money.
Yeah.
Except the normal, day-to-day expenses that you have to spend, that you have to pay for.
Yeah.
Whereas I could have just bought more land, bought properties on subject to whatever.
See, but all that's knowledge, right? From doing. So now you're saying that you have goals. Like obviously the goal that you just allowed us to know about is just your a family served goal this year, right? But what's the Terrance goal this year? Like what are you personally going to accomplish? So there's always wealth, there's always health, and there's always growth. Like in those categories, which ones are you? What are you going to accomplish, and how are you going to get there?
So honestly, it's going to sound very cliche, but goal number one is just finding some inner peace. To be honest with you, because there's been a lot of, in the military, which I know you guys can understand, is you're kind of bred to be on the go all the time.
False sense of pressure.
Yes.
It's getting brought up a lot.
Yes.
It's a constant, like, if you're not doing something, you're in the wrong.
Got it.
Yeah. And so that has definitely carried with me into real estate, which, there's pros to it that kept me going. Like if I'm not up by 7 a.m, my brain is already ticking. Like I'm not doing enough. I'm not working hard enough.
Sweeping floors.
Right. Exactly. Yeah. Just doing something. But, I'm trying to honestly just get to a point to where I could sit down in my couch at the end of the day and be like, we are okay.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like I've, a lot of the reasoning for my hustle and bustle is because, growing up, I didn't have the easiest of childhoods.
Okay.
There's been times where, wondering where food was going to be on the table, if the rent was going to be paid and all that kind of stuff. And, and I very vividly remember what that was like. And I have a ultimate life goal to make sure I never get into that spot again, and that when I do have kids, that they will never have to experience that. But the thing is even where I'm at right now, today, sitting in this chair, that is never going to happen. But I still have that in the back of my head.
And that's what you're trying to find.
Exactly. Yeah. And so just being able to, I guess, for the phrase, stop and smell the roses.
Yep.
Yeah. Like I go to all of. It took me a while to just like make my family the priority, and like I'm at all their concerts. I'm all at his kids' concerts because he's not there.
One
like,
time, by the way, one time.
Like I take that extra step for my family.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So,
but there's lessons in that too, though. Like especially with to bring it up in the real estate game, with newer agents. Like if you were to tell a newer agent or something like that. Especially. There's lessons in all that, and especially that's what I'm trying to tell people, newer agents that come on Iron Valley as well, and they see the Facebook, they see under contract, just closed, post. Dang, Kyle, like every day, just under contract, sold. And now we talk about, hey, we want to go to our kids' games, we want to do that.
Yeah.
But there's seasons for this stuff, and like people, even in the military, it's like when you get your ESWAS pin, right? You tell the family, hey, it's gonna be some late days.
Yep.
You know what I mean? Like I ain't gonna see you, but this is season. I have to get this done. So when you start. You can't just expect to jump into a season of balance is great, but to start something, balance might not be feasible at that time.
Yeah.
If you want to grow a career and you really want to start something jump, you might have to just say, hey, I'll be back. Don't worry. Give me a year, but we're going to be good, but I need to jump into this.
100%.
So I need you to get into this. So, like, that's where, it flips and flops. And I think as newer agents, and especially – being in the military, that's where we kind of became rookie of the year. And like
for sure. Yeah.
Wait, you were rookie of the year too?
Yeah.
Were you? Oh, you weren't here. Sorry.
That's when the season is like, hey, we know this other stuff has to go on the back burner, and that's okay.
Nice.
There's nothing wrong with that. There's no TikTok video or Instagram video that's going to make me feel bad about
it.
Because I know it's grinding season. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then you kind of have because I see it and it really irritates me. Like, oh, balance. Like,
There's
no such thing, bro.
Stop preaching that crap, man, because you can't. If you want balance, guess what? You'll be a 50-50. You'll be 50% all in, and you'll be 50% family. If you like doing that, that's fine. I'm not hating on it.
Correct.
But if you want to grow something, I'm sorry. That balance stuff, like, I'll see you in a year. But if you really love something, you want to grow it, it's got to go.
That's something with, like, that's what Mike taught me was, implemented the showing agent. And that's where the balance, I leverage my time.
The balance,
not going out physically opening a house, right, for a client. I'm at watching the kids, do their, the bands play or whatever, and we got to write an offer. Cool. Drop it in a text.
But you had
then I got my
you had to
TC
get that
right.
business first.
Yep.
And that was no balance in that.
That is true.
The business, the grind in the beginning, I got, I'm talking to clients from October and just now getting under contract.
Facts.
Yep.
So it's just that one season you just got to get through and really plant the seed. Just keep going. And I love how he says it. If you ever meet Julian or run across him, just say it must be nice, and you'll probably get an elbow.
I hate that shit.
I like how he says it because I don't like it either. So it must be nice, right? Like
it's nice because I work for it.
Yeah, and and it's not a flex. It's just like you get to that level where you know, like I got home at 9 p.m. last night showing home. So like, yeah,
Right.
Yeah.
it is nice actually when I
Yeah.
enjoy something.
Yeah.
like universal, right? Like,
Yeah, and then
Exactly.
that's,
I've been grinding.
and that's going to be the extra hours that we already have in us,
Yeah.
where
Yep.
it's like you worked all day. I came in late last night, and I was like, oh yeah, let's go play pickleball. I don't got no showings, and I was like, oh, we have a mentor-mentee mixer. Yeah. I'm gonna stick around for that,
Yep.
right? Show face and support the agents. Get home closer to 8 o'clock, and instead of going to shower or whatever, you know what? Let's take that extra time and sit down with the kids and play Uno.
Yeah.
Do something. Yeah.
I'm tired, but let's play Uno. Let's have some fun before their bedtime.
Exactly.
That's that little.
Yep.
The kids will remember that.
Yep,
'Cause
100%.
The rest of the day when they were home, they were out there playing their VRs and
Yep.
Yeah.
and their iPads. But you
Yeah.
got to get that
Yeah.
that time in front of them.
Yeah.
And that's one thing that you have on your side, and you have no kids.
No.
Right.
No.
So one thing that's a huge thing. I mean, don't get me wrong. We love our kids. Right? We would not change anything from the world.
Yeah.
But there's a way that I look at it when it comes down to when you have those responsibilities in your life. You have your wife. You have your kids. There's 100% of you, right?
Yeah.
And then you have to divide it by those people.
Yeah.
And then that's really the max percentage they're ever going to get from you.
Yep.
And I have 5 kids, and I have my wife.
Damn.
Right. Exactly. So then. And then you also have to put yourself in there. People forget that. You're talking about health and just wanting peace. So you have a one-up on almost 95% of the agents in the area right now, because majority of them, they're married, they have kids. A
Yeah.
lot of them, they might be older, whatever. It doesn't really matter age, but a lot of them do. And not just you, any of the people that don't have children at this point. I'm not
Yeah.
saying that you don't want it, but this is grind season for you,
Yes,
because you don't have to
exactly.
worry about going, showing up, appointments, etc. Even not being married, bro. Right now, you might have a girlfriend, you might not, but still, you have that flexibility to just
Right.
grow. That's really where I'm getting at, without
Yeah.
having to feel that you feel bad about missing something, or that worry of this.
Yeah, I would say for anybody that's thinking about getting into real estate, and they're single, because there's obviously a lot of skepticism. There's a lot of unknown that comes with a lot of this. And I would say when I went to go get out of the military, I knew that I had to get out. I was doing air traffic control. I had a close call that just made me really uncomfortable with the job, and I was like, this just
That's
ain't
one of the
it.
highest
So
suicide rate jobs there are.
it is, yeah.
Damn, really?
It is. Yep.
Didn't know
I
that.
forget you're not.
Yeah, I'm the
Yeah,
outsider,
yeah,
right?
yeah.
Yeah,
Seconds.
no, that's for real.
Yep.
Wow.
No, it is. It's because it's stressful. I mean, I used to, I never got qualified on it, but I was working arrival control, and I would be talking to 20, 30 jets at one time.
I'm sorry. Even in civilian world,
Yeah.
like even like the normal
Yeah.
airports and everything too.
Yeah.
Oh shit! Did not know that. Sorry.
Yeah, and I just realized, it's because my mindset on it was like playing a video game, and then I very quickly realized when I had a close call that this was not a video game. These are real people's lives at stake.
Right.
And even though the situation that happened was not my fault, it actually it made me want to do it less because of that.
Right.
Because if it was my fault, I knew that I could learn the lesson and make sure it doesn't happen again. But the fact that it could keep happening,
Yeah.
I was like, I can't do it. And so I was like,
It's a tough job.
I was
Yeah.
like, I'm gonna jump into real estate. And I remember when I got out too, the amount of weird looks I'd get, because I got in at the end of 2022, and that was right when the rates went up, and everybody was like, this is a bad time to get into real estate. But there was just something in the back of my brain. I was delusionally confident that I was gonna succeed.
How many years did you do in the military?
6.5.
6.5.
He did
right?
2.
And I did 8.
He did 4.
Yeah,
Cookie did
still
20.
more than a son. Right?
Yeah.
And then, right when you were getting out, how was, because we've talked about it on different podcasts
Sure.
of the exit as you're leaving the military. It's
Sure.
like you're not leaving. You're gonna re-enlist,
Yeah.
or you're making a mistake.
Yep.
How was that for you?
And honestly, it plays into the delusionally confident part.
Yep.
Was that when I was getting out, so many people asked me, it's like, what are you going to do next? Because
Yeah.
it is very common for people to get out of the military just to say, I just hate being in the military, I'm just going to get out. With
Yep.
no plan, and it's people are not valuing how many benefits and how much money you actually make in the military. Because then when you get out with no plan, you want to go work at Burger King. You're
Yeah.
making pennies compared to what you were doing in
Facts.
the military. Like, yeah, it sucks, but think about what's going to happen afterwards. But the thing is I was so confident that real estate was going to work. And, I'm not from Virginia Beach. All the people I knew were just the people I worked out with at the gym and the people I knew in the military. But I really believe in the power of the universe, and that if you think about it and you believe it and you give it every bit that you have of your being, that it will come true. And so I got out in November of 22, and I did everything I was supposed to. I was just, you know, it has, yeah. I gave it everything I was supposed to. You know, I closed 2 deals right before I got out, and then I had nothing for 4 months. I didn't make a single dollar. I actually ended up losing money because I tried doing a contracting job in like January to try to just put something on the table, and it went terrible, absolutely terrible. Yeah, I was like, okay, this is why I don't want to be a contractor. And then I was actually about 2 weeks away from packing my bags up and going back to Minnesota, because I was like,
oh wow,
yeah, because I was like, what I ended up doing is I actually that's when I started renting my house out, and the money I was making on that, I was paying my friend to live in his room, and so like everything was clean. But the thing is,
I remember that.
yeah, but the thing is I went from a 2,500 square foot house to a 90 square foot bedroom.
Yeah.
You know, and so it definitely added a lot of stress and made things tough for a little while. But yeah, I was close. I was about 2 weeks away from like no phone calls, no nothing, nothing in the pot, nothing was coming around. Just like that, 4 days in a row. I got like, my phone woke me up because of like the depression really set in.
Yeah.
You know, it was like, this isn't working. Like maybe I was wrong. Maybe all those guys that were telling me that I wasn't doing the right thing were right. But all of a sudden, it's just, I woke up to a phone call at like 9 in the morning, literally 4 days in a row with different buyers. All 4 of them closed within a month, and then boom, it just
Were
took off
those
from there.
people that you knew, or was it?
Yeah,
just
they're people from the military. They're people from 3 of them were from the military, 1 was from the gym. Yeah.
Right, and because I like to say, like, there's different ways to get it, right? And one way is to go out and get it. You know, you're out there. You know, people are doing the open houses, door knocking. You know,
Yeah.
circle prospecting, and then there's another way to just attract business, right?
Yeah.
I would say you have a good way to attracting business with what you've established over the years
Right.
in the area or whatever, and you know, the social media posts
Yeah.
kind of get you more traction coming to you versus
Exactly.
physically being out there and getting it
Right.
until you
Right.
get maybe a lead source or whatnot.
Yeah.
How did they remember that you were in real estate?
Yeah, so I mean,
question.
my whole business was built off of just referrals. I never did lead generation.
Okay.
And it was just,
And that's how we both came up.
yeah,
We both came up
exactly.
together, really.
Yeah,
I
we
got
really
a year
did.
on you, but we really came up
Yeah,
together. We really
yeah,
did.
and it was just staying in touch with those people. But I think also the way I carried myself while I was in the military was definitely played a part, because
Very.
I always really, really made sure not to burn bridges anywhere. Not like I had to try to not burn bridges. It was just like, you know, a lot of people will leave a command or whatever, and they'll put their middle fingers up and,
Yeah.
you know, like, fuck this place, I'm done with it,
Yep.
you know. But I just never, I just wasn't that kind of guy. I don't carry resentment. I don't carry hate towards anybody. I think there's so many different things that go on in the world that, you know, there's not enough time or room to be despiteful towards anything. And so,
You allowed yourself access to a database still that was there.
yeah, exactly.
Huge
Yeah.
You
database.
crushed
Yeah,
the database.
and not only that,
You
those
worked that.
people go from E4s, E5s,
Oh, yeah.
Exactly.
E6 to Chiefs. So
Yep.
that database is, their net worth is growing.
Exactly.
And they're
Yeah.
going to be bigger buyers, bigger
Yeah,
listings
yeah.
down the
And
line.
that gives me the truth in the 90-day thing. Like,
Mm-hmm.
whatever you do today in the world, you don't really see for 60 to 90 days.
Yeah.
Right? So you started, you had 2 buyers, but you were working that database. And then 4 months later,
Yeah.
you're like, wait, everything's coming.
Yep.
It's not because it was luck.
Yep.
It's because every day
Yep.
you put in the same amount of work to
Yep.
your database, right?
Yep,
Every
exactly.
day. The
Exactly.
calls, the text. So
There's
it's
a-
kind of funny how that ends up, right?
Yep.
There's a huge testament to say about you and you specifically, because Kyle and I are from here. Like
Yeah.
this is backyard, right? So we got people we went to high school with, people that we've grew up with, played, whatever the case may be, right? Even Sarah Taylor's, ironically, you knew her when you came over here, and you know, you used to hang out with her back in the day. You know what I'm saying? That's cool when you have that local feel. You're Minnesota, you're Cali. Like you guys came out here and built a business from nothing, and it's still growing drastically. Personally, I say this unconfidently, but I'm a very confident person. I don't even know how I would do that, going into somewhere brand new and then building a business from nothing, right? Because I've always been here, right? I'm never going to go. I love it. It's his home base.
Yeah.
That just like, they're a different breed of people, like more so him than you, because really it's like you. No, but like it's just a different breed of people that come to an area and can just build a huge
Yeah.
business, you know, because you almost went home. You told yourself, I'm out of here, bro.
Yeah.
And if it wasn't for that work that you were putting in, the 60, 90 day, the 4 months and everything, boom, you would have been out of here.
There's a famous military quote that I use all the time. It's called FITFO. Figure it the fuck out.
Facts.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep. And
You're in the shit.
Yep, exactly. And it's, I think the thing that sets people apart is just the ability to figure it out. Because people could take a situation and they can get overwhelmed and quit.
Yeah.
They can cry and say they're not going to do it, whatever the case is. But if you have the ability to just dissect it and figure it out and go on to the next thing, that's how you keep building, is because there's going to be problems that come to you time and time again, right? And if you just stop at the first problem, then how are you going to get to level 2 or level 3 or level 4?
It's true.
Especially when you don't have a sphere of people.
Exactly.
You're just kind of solo. Like that's even more figuring it out.
Right. So it's like, if this overwhelms you and this freaks you out, take a step back, breathe in through your nose, out through your mouth, say USA a couple times, and then figure it the fuck out. Yeah. That's the only way to move forward. It really is.
Yeah, I always tell people, just take one task.
Yep.
Work on that. Finish it.
Yep.
On to the next one.
Exactly.
And just keep moving forward.
Yep.
So I know it's kind of like getting out of the military when you leave one brokerage to another brokerage, right? Did that give you confidence in that as well? Like, hey, no matter what, I know I'm going to figure it out.
Oh, 100%. Yeah. Yeah.
I don't care if this is the worst play in my life.
Yeah.
Either way, I'm going to figure it out.
Yeah,
So
it definitely took some time. I'd say probably the first year and a half, I really think I had some imposter syndrome.
Yeah.
Just because it's a whole new world. I mean, real estate is completely different from being in the military. But but once you figure it out enough times, and you really start to build more confidence in yourself, and like, okay, maybe I know what I'm doing. Like this is, I'm not just having to figure this out one time or two times. It's like, I'm figuring this out because I know what I'm doing, not because somebody's telling me to do it, know? So yeah, it definitely builds your confidence up pretty quick. But
we both had the same mindset on that, I think.
Yeah, 100%.
We talk a lot. Terrance. Tay-Tay, actually.
Tay-Tay.
But yeah, I think we both had the same mindset on that. It's like, but you know what? At the end of the day, I think, this is right, and then we can make it, make the move. And I think either way, we can figure it out.
Yeah, exactly.
Kind of conditioned ourselves for that
philosophy.
To your point though, this segues to, you're now at Iron Valley Real Estate, obviously.
Yeah.
You've only been at 2 brokerages, right?
Yep.
But why Iron Valley? Like, what was matching up with Terrance outside of having a relationship with Kyle that made sense for you to make the move? Because to be fair, you're killing it where you're at. You're doing fine. I mean, I knew that, but what's the why behind that?
I'm a very big vibe person.
Okay.
I like the atmosphere that I need to be around, because I've been around, when I was in the Navy, it's very, very quick, or it's very easy for one person to join your crew and make the whole crew upset or make things sideways or whatever. Because also in the air traffic control community, at least in the stations that I was at, they're small, right? We're 10 to 15 people, so you get one bad apple in there.
Okay.
That comes on your crew and just spreads negativity. It's like now the whole fucking crew is negative.
Right.
And so for me, it was the vibe, it was the energy. I love the fact that when I walked into Iron Valley, Norfolk for the first time, you guys had 2 arcade systems, with the Simpsons on it. Like, that's just fucking cool, like, and then but also being able to walk in and just a big thing that people deal with when they get out of the military, and that's losing camaraderie.
Okay.
Because camaraderie is a really, really big deal in the military. And when you get out, it doesn't matter where you go, you're never going to find that camaraderie.
Right.
You're just not. You go through this shit with these guys, whether you like them, you hate them, whatever it is, that is your best friend for the rest of your life. God chose, But, going into Iron Valley, though, there was that sense of camaraderie. Like, granted, it's not the same as the military, but being able to walk in and, walk into his office and steal his chair and just be like, sorry, it's my office today. Like it's I like the vibe. I like the energy that comes with it. And, it's just, again, it's just a vibe. It's an energy, you know what I mean? And then also to have, you, LJ, Steven, Kyle, like I whoop Kyle and Steven on the golf course all the time. So, that's already got the one leg up.
Now we know this is all a lie. Everything we're saying.
Yeah. No, it's just, it really is. It's a comforting thing. It's being able to know that at any point in time, a call is going to be answered, a text is going to be answered. If I need advice, because like ultimately being there, you're not getting a cut from my commission. You're not getting a cut from my commission, but I can call you guys at any point in time with any question, and you guys are going to answer it, and that's huge. That's big.
And I kind of feel the same way. I think it's more, and again, this is real. Like it's more, we're in it with you.
Yeah.
From that side. I think we're more we're in the streets.
Yeah.
We're in it with you. We can kind of all pivot, make that same move. It's not like, oh, well, I got to go through this person. Or whatever.
Yeah.
It's like, we're in the office and we're like, hey, we're doing the same thing. Like, pivot this way, pivot this way.
Yeah.
And that's what the camaraderie in the military.
You're right.
It's like everybody's in it with you. You're in the suck together.
Exactly.
And this is one, real estate doesn't suck, but like,
for
the lack of a better metaphor is we're in it together.
Yeah. There's first world problems.
Yeah.
It's not that serious.
Yeah.
And it's really everybody is in it together. Like, there's not one person who's not in it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like you're all in it. So
Yeah.
that was good.
I also think the Logan, do your thing, really solidifies itself, and you really realize what that means once you get to Iron Valley.
Like we can give you, we have a really dope value prop book, right? And then we tell you exactly what we do, what's on paper. But when I have these conversations with agents, when you have these conversations, and now because you're going to talk about it, it's one of the things that you can't put a value prop on the energy and the community and the culture, because I can write that down, but that's just something you feel.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? That's like it's transferable, good and bad. In this scenario, it's good, but it's one thing I just can't put in the prop book. I can't put on paper anywhere that's really going to be, here, read this. I guarantee you're going to feel that. No, that's not the game. It's more so because I have a very comparable reason when I came over here. It's just the energy, man. It's matching where I want to go in Julian's career, in Julian's life. It's matching where Terrance sees himself going in the next 5 years.
Exactly.
It's the same concept, right? And there's no shade where any of us were coming from or not. It's just there's levels to this shit. And once you get to another level, you either stay complacent or you still want to grind. And I want to keep grinding. That's I want to keep growing. I still got
I would say
some time in me.
It's kind of like when it comes to sports, you can have some of the best athletes on your team or whatever, but there's always that secret element where it's not a secret element. It's just that extra recipe where it's just everybody's just meshing together. The camaraderie, it levels everybody up.
It does.
Yeah.
It might not be the most athletic team, but they're going to get it done.
100%.
That camaraderie.
Yeah.
Agreed.
Yeah. I also love the fact too that, and I've spoken with like all of you guys about different ideas, and I know you guys might think I'm a little crazy with some of the random shit I pull out of my ass to talk about. But the thing I love about being able to talk to you guys about that is that, if I come up with some weird business idea, I feel comfortable in the sense that I can just, no matter how wild it is, I could be like, hey, Julian, like, what do you think of this?
Yeah.
And I know I'm not going to get a, dude, what? No, that's stupid.
Right.
It's like, well, okay, well, why are you thinking about it that way? Why, what could you do to get that going? It's like, whether it is a good or a bad idea, you're getting me to think about it in some different lights.
Yep.
So like, you're not going to shoot it down for me. You're going to let me try to live that out, but then you're also just making sure I get a better full picture, because it's always easier from the outside looking in.
Yeah.
Because I know how easy it is for people to get wrapped up in their ideas and keep going. So
For sure.
Yeah.
Like I love that aspect. I really do, because there's not a lot of people that you could do that with, and the fact that all 4 owners of Iron Valley Norfolk are that way.
Yeah.
I mean, that's
And it's the same thing, right? Like, I mean, how'd you feel about that fire and ice party? Like, it's like, wait, what? This is, what I mean? This is massive. Like,
Yeah.
It's the same. Like, it's nothing different.
for sure.
Like,
Yeah.
It's just so weird that you're like, how can that even work out here?
Yeah.
Like,
Right.
Absolutely.
it's just,
But a lot of that's matching the energy. Like
Yeah.
even with, Edwin, Mike, Eric, Jama, like it's more the combination of how do we figure this shit out instead of, no, that's not going to work. And everyone individually already has that mindset, which is dope coming into this. I don't give a shit if you open 1,000 businesses and close 1,000. I don't care what it is. It's that mindset, right?
Exactly.
So then you had the mindset to graduate to where you're at now in life. Like you've sold a house, you've helped and served a ton of different families. You're now heading into your 3rd full year with goals, with the motivation, with the 6-pack, probably going to get an 8-pack in the next month or so. You have like all the all the mojo behind you pushing you in that direction. So as we wrap this up, what are you going to tell yourself this time next year when you've accomplished your goals? Before you answer that, I saw this quote the other day that's like resonating with me, and I say the game recognized game. I say all these other things, right? But this one's gonna
broker.
This one's gonna be resonating with me a lot. No, no, it's
I love it. I love it.
It said,
Go ahead. Let's go.
You're about to take me back to another joke, but it's going to go off where I was going. I was being serious. Damn it. All right. Remember when you said you'd be happy when you achieved the goals you already did?
Oh yeah, we see. Yeah.
You've set these goals out for 25 that are going to
Yeah.
make you happy in some way, shape, or form.
Yeah.
What are you going to tell yourself next year at this time when you achieve those goals? Because you're going to do it.
Yep. To be 100% honest, I keep trying to tell myself it's okay to slow down, but I don't. I move 110 miles an hour all the time, and I think part of me coming to peace is also just realizing that that's who I am. Is I go 110 miles an hour.
Yep, right.
And so honestly, this time next year, once I've hit my goal, I'm going to create a new goal, and we're just going to chase that motherfucker. Like it's
okay.
on to the next.
It's okay.
You know, like it really is. Like I just know that's how I am. Like if one project is done, cool.
Yeah.
Go to the next one.
And that's
The finish line is the goal until you run past it.
Yeah,
Like,
exactly. Yeah, it's like okay, this race is done. What's the
that?
other one? Is that Mount Everest?
oh, correct. Those are mountains, different
okay,
peaks
cool.
and valleys,
All right,
right?
cool. Yeah.
So that you're going to reach your peak, and then you just create another one.
Exactly.
And then you create another one. That's
Yep.
really the whole thing with Your Peak Life podcast.
Yep.
Like it's about just getting and excelling, and then when you're there, now what? Another one.
Exactly.
Like, are you
Another
going to
peak.
get?
Yep.
It's
Yep.
just, it's gonna
Yeah,
be,
just-
it never
just keep
stops
going,
until
yeah.
you really want it to. To be fair, like you were saying earlier, you can get these, and then you know we're going to cash out. We're going to sell everything because we reached all those peaks. Now you got all this bread. You create another peak because
yeah,
now what to
we're
do
We're
with
not
it.
going to sit on
Exactly.
money.
You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? Like
Right.
you reach Rookie of the Year, boom. All right, you wanted to keep rocking and rolling. You wanted to grow. You opened a company. Now you're owner of a brokerage. Boom. You created other peaks. Boom.
Boom.
You
Broker.
got out of there. Boom. You got this. Now you've sold a crib. You got a new rental property. You know what I'm
Yeah,
saying? You got
exactly.
you went from a snack pack to a 6-pack. Like you create all of these peaks to
Yeah,
go
whole
there.
snack.
And the main thing is that you don't want to lose your hair like Edgar.
Yeah, true.
Okay, that's the main thing.
Yeah,
All right.
yeah.
And we're gonna end on that one right there.
Your hairline looks like a fucking Amazon. Like
But you
like
keep looking at it.
National Geographic. They're not at the Amazon. They're
But the
just coming
problem is-
into from top to bottom into Julian's
The problem
hairline.
is you have a cul-de-sac and you're bald. I don't know how you have that in your head.
Dude, you don't see.
But I'm not bald yet, B. Like it's like, what are you talking about?
Oh my
it's
God,
called
that's
Nair.
great.
Rub that shit on there and rinse it off in the
I
shower.
can't. I just gotta keep shaving it. like lice,
great.
like survival shows are in his hair right now. Like,
It's okay. He just
Survivor.
He just making
You
like
got
half
Bear
hair.
Grylls hunting up there.
No, I mean I got a forehead. Like, I got a forehead. I know that, but he can go like this, like the whole way back. That's
he's
the
all
problem.
cheating over there.
It's okay, man. It's all
That's
good.
awesome.
I love it.
You
My
got
daughter,
it.
my daughter tells me every day about that. Anyways, Terrance Boyle, with no S, Boyle. Thank you for
you
being
go.
on the show, brother. Appreciate
Thanks,
you, man.
Appreciate you, bro.
Seriously.
Thank you.
All right, Eddie of the Sphere, Munoz, Kyle Myers, Terrance, Julian Rivera signing out. See you guys next time.
See
Make
you.
sure to follow